Well, what's up, Trinity students? Welcome to VIVE Online. Listen, I don't know about you, but Wednesday nights are the best. It's an opportunity for us to connect, get to encourage you and be encouraged by you guys. I've really been encouraged by the way that you guys have been connecting week over week with what we've been doing via social media. Such a good time for us just to get caught up and stay connected. We're praying for you guys. We miss y'all like crazy. And we just believe that tonight is going to be another cool night. It's going to be another amazing time online, hanging out and really kind of leaning in to the presence of the Lord together. Listen, I don't know about y'all, but I've been struggling during this quarantine time. I'm eating up like everything in sight. And I'm trying to kind of withstand and have self-discipline, but it's hard, you know, and so I'm asking for your prayers. Listen, here's what I want you to do. If you're struggling like me, if you're just eating up all the chips and cookies and all that stuff like that, holler at me below. Let me know I ain't by myself. Let me know what your struggle is, and we're gonna pray together. We're gonna get through this together, all right? You and I, we got this, all right? Don't leave me hanging. Come on, holler at me below. Listen, we're getting ready to go into an incredible game. We've been going through this quarantine and everybody's having to wear masks. I got my mask. Tonight it's all about the Jaguars, you know. And so tonight's game is all about what's behind the mask. Okay, maybe you didn't hear me. What's behind the mask? Check it out, engage, let's go.
Hey guys, let's play What is Behind the Mask. So let's do this. Hammond versus Oakley. Let's do Pastor Vaughn versus Pastor Trey. Here we go, number one. What is the status of Chris Pratt's mouth behind this mask? A, closed. B, open. C, open with tongue.
You know, Joel, I'm gonna have to go with A.
A.
Yeah.
Surprising, okay. Think
Choice.
closed. All right, Pastor Vaughn, what you got?
I want to think about this. I think it's C.
But it is closed.
Yeah!
Let's go. It's okay, Vaughn. We got the next one.
Points. All right, number two, Reed versus Kaya.
Let's do this.
Chris, will you find behind this mask? A, Evans, B, Hemsworth, or C, Pine?
Chris Pine. That's Chris Pine.
Kaya?
Just say Chris Evans.
Oh, going opposite, Chris Evans. The answer is
Combination? That just
Yeah. Chris Pine.
Let's
Go,
go, Reed.
Yes.
Let's go.
all right, Christine versus Brianna.
This is a lot of pressure.
What will we find Kanye doing behind this mask? A, snarling, B, straight face, or C, smiling?
Is this pre-Christian era Kanye or?
I'm gonna go with straight face, because Kanye doesn't smile.
Okay, Christine.
That's a good answer.
I'm gonna go with smiling. I'm gonna go with smiling.
Smiling.
What if he is
Yeah.
smiling? Oh goodness.
What is Kanye doing behind that mask?
This is a lot of pressure.
Straight
Yeah. Yes.
Let's go.
All right, Pastor Vaughn, Pastor Trey. What will we find Lady Gaga doing behind this mask? A, puckering, B, gasping, or C, smirking?
Oh, this is hard. I'm gonna go with A, puckering.
Good choice. Good choice.
Puckering. Pastor Vaughn, what you got?
I'm going to go B, Gaspar.
Oh, he's going opposite.
Yeah, let's go on.
And she did. Puckering.
Yes.
Let's go.
Reed and Kaya, second round.
I have a lot of pressure.
What is the status of Jennifer Lawrence's mouth behind this mask? Closed, open, open. Oh, yeah.
Joel, I'm gonna have to say B, open.
B, open is you guys' guess.
Come on, Kaya, you got this.
I'm not
I'm literally torn between A and C. So I'm gonna say A.
Answer is Open with tongue.
Oh.
Hey, we're still in the lead.
No point.
Right. No. Still sweet.
No.
Still sweet.
point.
Still
Christine
sweet.
and Brianna.
Ooh, I should have.
Oh, that's horrible.
Now, I apologize for the typing on the screen. I have no idea what happened. What
Discovier.
What is Will We Discover?
Discovier.
What will we discover on Brad Pitt's face when we remove the mask?
Oh,
Clean
how
shave,
am I supposed to know that?
B, a beard, or C, a mustache?
If you put
I'm
an F,
gonna go with clean shave.
Yeah, good choice, Christine.
Brad
Oh my
Pitt,
God.
clean shave. Brianna, what you got?
I'm gonna go with clean shave. I'm not gonna make the same mistake.
Okay.
We're gonna get a point.
Take is Pastor Vaughn. Clean shave is the guess for both. The answer is mustache.
if you
That
put
does
an
not look like that would be on his face.
Here we go. Pastor Vaughn, Pastor Trey. How many teeth will be missing on this when we remove the mask?
This isn't a famous kid, right? Or is it?
This is not a famous kid.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 2.
Pastor Vaughn says B, 2.
We've been risking it this whole game. I'm gonna go with
Yeah.
C. 4.
C, 4.
Good choice.
The answer is 2.
Oh, okay.
Yes!
Sleep with our
Oakley with the comeback.
And this is what? Reed and Kaya.
Is it? Oh.
What type of mouth does this emoji have behind the mask? Straight face, half frown, or no mouth?
There are multiple emojis with this.
They all have the same eyes.
No, they have different eyes. Reed, look at the eyes. You know this.
I'm gonna have to say letter 2, half round.
Letter 2.
Letter 2.
Letter 2.
Two.
That's what I'm going with.
The half frown.
Half round. That's what. That's
Maybe
what.
sports. Good
Kaya,
answer.
Kaya.
Good answer.
I want to say C.
C, no mouth. And the answer is no mouth.
Wow. It's okay, Reed.
Dang.
Oakley. Clawing
Making a
back
comeback.
into the game.
We're starting to lose
Christine, Brianna,
because I haven't seen.
Oh,
pull off the mask, and what will you find in this dog's mouth?
I
A,
hope.
B, a bird, or C, a pacifier?
I'm gonna go with pacifier.
With what?
Pacifier.
Dang it, Christine.
So plausible.
because the thing is, a biscuit is too obvious, but maybe they're trying to trick me to be like, it's too obvious, don't pick this one. I'm gonna go with the biscuit. We're gonna go with the biscuit.
Brianna says biscuit, and the answer
I'm
is
scared.
You're the bird. It's gonna be the bird.
pacifier.
Oh my goodness!
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It is now 5-2.
Oh yeah.
5-2.
Victory.
This is the final one. This one's worth 3 points.
Oh,
Yes. Wait, that would make us tied. 4 points.
Wait. I gotta look at this.
Is missing behind the mask of this deluxe cheeseburger.
Is missing?
What topping is missing?
That's a cheeseburger?
Mayo, B bacon, or C?
I thought
onion?
that kind of looked like chicken. That's the thing.
Yeah, me too. That looks like chicken.
What
All right,
topping?
so my answer is there bacon on a deluxe burger? I don't think there is.
Think about it.
But
I'm
where is this from?
gonna pull off an SAT rule. When you take SAT, like you get to a stumping question. Last round was C, and I don't think they would do C again.
Oh yeah,
That's what you think.
I'm gonna go.
that's a good guess.
Brianna.
I'm gonna go. This is it. I'm gonna go with B, bacon.
Pecan. Bacon.
All right, he's put it in and it says B bacon.
Come on, Vaughn. Come on.
Vaughn, you got
Vaughn, you gotta come through here. Can we tie it up?
A. Mayo.
Gentlemen, can they tie it up, or will Hammond come out victorious? What topping is missing on the mask of this deluxe cheeseburger? Bacon!
Yes! Superior
Let's
campus.
go. Let's
Superior
go.
campus.
Oakland has fallen.
Hammond, it's okay. It's okay.
Superior campus. That was us.
What's behind the mask? Hope you had fun. What a great time hanging out with you guys and kind of seeing, how that whole thing worked out. Thank you for your participation. Listen, if this is your first time with us, thank you for joining us. Hope you're having a good time with us so far. Click the link below. We want to know that you're here. We want to see how we might be able to serve you, come alongside you, encourage you, support you as a part of being a part of our fellowship. So glad that you're with us on today. Don't forget to click that link below in the description. Listen, we are getting ready to go into worship, but before we do, I'm so excited to be kicking off a new series. Pastor Joel is going to come in just a minute and deliver what I believe is a very powerful message about the difference that you make in your circle, your community, your environment, the impact that you make. And it's going to be a powerful word, so get ready for that. But let's get into worship. Let's go.
Peace like a river wash over me. Immerse me in water as deep as the sea. And hide me in love, your healing embrace. Peace like a river wash over me as I worship your majesty. I worship your holy name, Jesus, my everything, and all that I am is yours. Come, Holy Spirit, rain down on me. Break open the heavens and drench the unseen. And pour out your presence as I pour out your praise. Come, Holy Spirit. Lord, have your way as I worship your majesty. I worship your holy name, Jesus, my everything, and all that I am is yours. I worship your majesty. I worship your holy name, Jesus, my everything, and all that I am is yours. Open the heavens, flee wide the gates, flood every heart with mercy, and pour out your presence, inhabit our praise as we cry, holy, holy. And open the heavens, flee wide the gates, flood every heart with mercy, and pour out your presence, inhabit our praise as we cry, holy, holy. As we cry, holy, holy. Lord, send revival, Lord, send it now. A move of your spirit, heaven break out. And come now in power, cover this land like you've done it before. Would you do it again? Lord, send revival, Lord, send it now. A move of your spirit, heaven break out. And come now in power, cover this land like you've done it before. Would you do it again? Lord, send revival, Lord, send it now. A move of your spirit, heaven break out. And come now in power, cover this land like you've done it before. Would you do it again? Lord, send revival, Lord, send it now. A move of your spirit, heaven break out. And come now in power, cover this land like you've done it before. Would you do it again? And heaven break out, heaven break out, and heaven break out, heaven break out. And Lord, send revival, Lord, send it now. A move of your spirit, heaven break out. And come now in power, cover this land like you've done it before. Would you do it again? And Lord, send revival, Lord, send it now. Move of your spirit, heaven break out. And come now in power, cover this land like you've done it before. Would you do it again?
So a few weeks ago, I was with a couple of teenagers at a concert. It was here in Jacksonville, and it was at VISTAR Veterans Memorial Coliseum, and I think that place seats about 15,000 people. Maybe at this concert there was probably 10 or 11,000, just to have a rough estimate. Well, the concert was going great, and there's a ton of people in this arena. And then they had technical difficulties. And everything like froze on stage. Like they had a problem with the screens, the audio wasn't working, and they actually had to come on and like pause the concert and say, we've had some technical difficulties, and they just started playing just random background music while we were waiting for the concert to continue. Well, in those moments, I felt like for me as a student pastor, this was really my time to shine. In an arena with 10,000 people, I looked at all the students that were with us, and I said, hey guys, let's start the wave. And they're like, oh no, there's no way. There's so many people in here. I was like, no, listen, let's get our section involved and let's see where it goes. So of course, I stand up like a goofball and yell to our section, we're going to start the wave. And everyone looked at me like I was, just crazy, but I didn't care. So I said, let's do the wave. So I was like, 1, 2, 3. And we all did the wave, and like 20 people jumped in and did it. And that's as far as it went. So I was like, guys, we can do this. And we did it again, and it caught on. The next section started doing it. And then we did it again, and a couple of people in the next section started to do it. And before long, our little group of about 15 teenagers started to grow this wave to where, and you can ask these teenagers, they're in our youth group, they were there, they saw it, to where 10,000 people in that arena were doing the wave. It was going all the way around the arena, and it started with our group. In fact, the wave got so big that a guy walked out on stage and says, hey, I see y'all are doing the wave. Let's do it all together. And he announced it on the mic, and it was actually just a really funny but cool moment that a small group, about 15 teenagers, influenced 10,000 people in this huge arena to do the wave. Now, I know that's a silly story, but I thought it fit so well with our new series, The You Effect. And if we were to define the you effect, we would define it this way: how you affect the people and situations around you. How you affect the people and the situations around you. Now, we're going to use that word affect, and there's actually two ways to spell it, and we're going to use both of them. So affect, spelled with an E, is a noun, and it is describing, or it's talking about the result of influence. Okay, so the noun is the result of influence, and then affect, spelled with an A, is a verb. That means actually influencing. You're welcome for that little English lesson for you to use on your next Zoom call. So we're going to look at the you effect, how you affect the people and situations around you. For some of you, that's really easy to think about because you are a natural leader. And you may have a leadership position at school. You may have one at your job. And people just listen to you. And your friends listen to you. And if you tell them who you think they should date, they listen and they ask that person out on a date. Or maybe something as random as you tell them who you think the best Avenger is. Iron Man, by the way. And they listen to you and you're able to lead people. But there's some of you watching this tonight that you may say, no one listens to me. Who am I? I can't influence anybody. Our dog at home won't even obey me. How can I influence somebody? So no matter where you're at on that spectrum, here's what I want you to know tonight. Everybody has influence, no matter where you're at. Everybody can affect the people and the situations around them. And that's what I want to show you tonight. So we're going to look at a story in God's Word that shows somebody who you probably think there's no way this person can influence anybody. And Jesus uses him to influence thousands. So we're going to look in the Gospels. And if this is your first time watching or you're not really familiar with the Bible, the Gospels are the first 4 books of the New Testament. And they're all written by eyewitnesses of Jesus. And they are written by people who were eyewitnesses or talked to eyewitnesses about the story of Jesus Christ. So we're going to look in the Gospels, and we're going to look in the book of John chapter 6. And John was a close friend of Jesus. He lived and walked with Jesus. In fact, when Jesus was on the cross, he looked down at John and said, asked John to take care of his mother. That's how close John and Jesus were. So this is an eyewitness account of a situation that really happened. So just wanted to set the stage for that so you know what's going on. So around this time, as Jesus was walking around during his 3 years of ministry and ministering and caring and healing people and working miracles, people heard about him. People were following him everywhere he went. So the story we're going to read today is no different. There's a crowd of people following Jesus, wanting to see or hear what he was going to say or do next. So John chapter 6, if you want to turn there, pull it up. It'll be on the screen. Let's start in verse 1. After this, Jesus went away to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias. And a large crowd was following him because they saw the signs that he was doing on the sick. Jesus went up on the mountain, and there he sat down with his disciples. Now, the Passover, the feast of the Jews, was at hand. Lifting up his eyes then and seeing that the crowd was coming towards him, Jesus said to Philip, "Where are we to buy bread so that these people may eat?" He said this to test him, for he himself knew what he would do. So Jesus looks to Philip, one of his disciples, and says, "Hey, we've got all of these people here." The Bible says 5,000. There's probably more than that just by the way they counted back then. And he says, "Philip, how are we going to feed all these people?" Now, if I was Philip, I'd be like, I don't know. You're the one working miracles. You're the one in charge. But look what Philip said, verse 7. Philip answered him, 200 denarii worth of bread would not be enough for each of them just to get a little snack. So Philip said, I mean, if you took 6 months of the money that I earned, half a year's wages wouldn't even be enough to feed these people. I mean, teenager, think about that. Some of you have been working hard during this quarantine, and think about giving away 6 months of your salary just to feed people for one day. Philip's like, I don't even have that much money to feed these people. How are we going to do it? Verse 8, one of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "There is a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what are they for so many?" So apparently, one mom out of all these people had decided to pack their son a lunch. And maybe you've heard this story before. The boy had 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. And it looks like Andrew had been searching the crowd and found one person with this small little lunch. I've heard other pastors refer to this as a Hebrew Happy Meal. He just had this small little lunch. Then Jesus gets to work. Look what happens. Jesus said, verse 10, "Have the people sit down now. There was much grass in the place." So the men sat down, and 5,000 in number. Jesus then took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed them to those who were seated. So also the fish, as much as they wanted. And when they had eaten their fill, he told his disciples, "Gather up the leftover fragments, that nothing may be lost." So they gathered them up and filled 12 baskets with fragments from the 5 barley loaves left by those who had eaten. And when the people saw the sign that he had done, they said, "This indeed the prophet who is to come into the world." This is indeed the prophet who is to come into the world. So this brings up a lot of questions in my mind. I don't know how they passed out the food. I don't know if it was buffet style, but there was an incredible miracle taken from this small little lunch that Jesus did. But it brings up another question. In this story, who was the most impactful? Who had the most influence? Who affected this story the most? Well, first we think, well, Jesus, right? He was God's son that had the power to do this incredible miracle, right? That's for sure. Then you have the disciples. They were following Jesus. They were the students. They were learning from the Son of God. But then there's one person left that, if you really think about it in human terms, he stepped into a situation to where he was able, through the power of God, to affect thousands of people. And that was the little boy with the lunch. The little boy with the lunch. And in fact, you could say it this way. It wasn't the amount of what he had. It was his willingness to use what he had that made him influential. It wasn't the amount, but it was his willingness. It wasn't what he had, but he was willing to give it to God, give it to Jesus, to surrender it. And that's when the miracle happened. And this would have been an even bigger deal in the context of the story back then. In those times, children weren't given that kind of influence or power, right? It was the men of the day, that to hear a kid influencing a crowd of thousands would have been unheard of. I mean, can you imagine the conversation when that kid got home and he was talking to his family saying, "You'll never believe what they did with my lunch today. You'll never believe what this guy did, this man did, this person they're saying is a prophet, the Son of God. He fed thousands of people with my 5 pieces of bread and 2 fish." You see, I bet this kid, he probably thought he'd never have that kind of influence. He wasn't on stage. He wasn't the coolest kid in the crowd. He wasn't really given any kind of voice. He wasn't a speaker. He wasn't a preacher. He wasn't super athletic. What did he do? He just took what he had and he surrendered it. He was willing to give up his lunch. He brought all that he had, and what he had was enough for the Son of God to take and do an incredible miracle, and by the power of God, take what the boy had and multiply it to feed thousands. Now that is a pretty awesome story, a true story that we read about in the Bible. Well, when it comes to you and affecting the world around you, here's the point of what we're going to be talking about this first week. You have more of an effect than you think. You have more of an ability to influence people than you may even realize. I mean, imagine if this boy had never given up his lunch. Imagine if he was like, "No, my mom sent this for me. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to hold on to this. I don't want to give it out to anybody. How do I even know you're going to bring it back to me?" Imagine the story that we never would have heard that is still around thousands of years later for us to hear of this miracle. So think about the stories that you are missing out on because you are not willing to take what you've been given, and you may think it's something small. You may think it's something little. You may think, well, I'm never on stage and I'm never having the light shining on me and I don't have this athletic ability or this musical ability. It's not about that. Think about the stories you're going to miss out on that God wants to write for you if you just take what you have and be willing to give it to God. You have more of an effect than you think. You see, teenagers, if we all come at it with this attitude and we understand this about influence, it's going to change things. Because having influence is simply just about being willing to do something with what you have. That's influence. That's the you effect. That if I want to change my school, if I want to change my family, if I have a desire to change my friend group, my sports team, if I want to change the world, if I want to make a difference, it's not about thinking, well, I just don't have the ability to do that. No, what has God given you? What time, talents, and treasures do you have? And are you willing to use them? Because simply just being willing to use what God's been given us and surrendering to God, that's what makes the difference. Because God can take what you have, which you may think is ordinary, and do something extraordinary with it. Let me give you an example. Of course, I know we've been talking about quarantine, we talk about social distancing, but it is so amazing to see, especially even through our church, if you saw this past Sunday, how God is taking all of these things that you may think are not a big deal and using them to impact, to affect people all across the First Coast, all across here in the Jacksonville area. You know, some of you may say, well, I know how to sew. Okay, I don't know how to sew, but some of you may say, I know how to sew. Do you know in just the past few weeks, people that know how to sew have been sewing these masks and putting them together and giving them to be a blessing to our first responders and healthcare workers. They probably never thought that they could use that ability to make such a big difference. I mean, think about that. Something as simple as sewing. How about this? Some of your parents probably got something called a stimulus check from the government. I've heard so many stories of different people that have taken that source of money and they've donated it. They've taken that financial income and they said, I'm going to give it to help somebody. They've used what they had. It may be small, it may be little, and God used it to make a difference. Hey, did you know, even watching these videos right now, that God has used many of you? There's many, there's a student right now I'm thinking of. I won't call you out to embarrass you, but you have an incredible ability to edit video and to make them funny and to add graphics. And you've edited a number of the videos that we put on our YouTube channel. You're taking what you've been given, and then God is taking it and multiplying it. There's some of you that have been helping out on our Instagram page and posting stuff and going live with things. And there's many of you that have been helping your small group leader figure out how to do a Zoom call because you can handle technology. There's some of you that have been sewing masks. We can go on and on and on just in this little past 6 weeks, how you've taken what you've been given and then you've allowed God to take it and make a difference in the lives of others. So let me close with this. If you want to take that you effect, how you can affect the people and the situations around you, let me give you 3 things to work on. And you can talk with your small group leader about this. The first one is this: identify the who. Who in your immediate friend group, who in the current situations, or what in the current situations around you, can you take what you've been given, just like that little meal, and you can use it? So look around, pray about it. Say, God, who can I help? Then here's the second thing: identify the need. What can I help with? Can I help that elderly person that lives next door? Can I just go mow their lawn because I'm able to get out there and do that for them, right? Can I call someone up, a friend that's struggling, and I can just pray for them? Can I run to the grocery store? Can I help sew masks? What are some things that you can take and use? And what's the need? And then here's the third thing I want to challenge you to do. Identify the who, identify the need, and then, man, just get to work, right? Put on those work boots, get out there, get involved, use what you have. And here's what I believe, and here's what I know, is that God's going to take what you have, and if you willingly surrender it to Him and say, God, here's what I have. This is something in my eyes that's small, but I want you to use it, and He will do something extraordinary with it that you never could have done on your own. Because students, this is not about doing this in your own power. This is not about doing this to get your self-glory. No, if we are followers of Jesus, our desire and our purpose should be this: that I'm going to let my light shine so that others around me, we read about it in Matthew 5, can see my good works and do what? They can glorify our Father which is in heaven. That you can use what you have to point people to Jesus. So, in the same way that others have influenced you, I mean, think about that. The way that other people in your life have influenced you, you can have the same effect on others. You can have the same effect on others. Why? Because you have more of an effect than you think. Think about this boy. He went walking to that meeting with thousands of people. He had his small little lunch. The disciples are walking around trying to figure out who in the world has food. And this little boy says, I've got something. It's not much, but I'm willing to give it to you. And think about the incredible story and the incredible miracle that Jesus worked on that day. Hey, students, I firmly believe that you all have something to give. You all have influence. Get involved in this you effect. How can you influence and point people to Jesus? You have more of an effect than you think.
Wow, what a powerful message from Pastor Joe. Listen, here's the bottom line. You have more of an effect than you realize it. Grab hold of that, receive that as your own word, take that and live that out in a way that brings glory and honor to the name of the Lord. Well, listen, we're so excited because tonight we are going to announce the winner of VIVE's Got Talent. If you submitted a video entry, we're so thankful that you did. The winner will be announced immediately after small groups. And so, listen, if you are not connected to a small group, that would be one of you that are here for the first time in particularly. Click the link below. We want to make sure that you get connected, plugged in, so that we can help you as you continue your walk with the Lord and as you continue to grow in your fellowship with us as a community. We are thankful and grateful for all of the opportunities that we get to engage, and so we need your help. Click the link below. Let's get you plugged in and let's get you moving forward. Well, listen, tonight has been a great night. Small groups are going to be great. Don't forget to join us on Instagram online so that we can reveal who the winner is of VIVE's Got Talent. We'll see you soon. Let's go.